Hello and welcome to Daily Reflection with Aneel Aranha. Today is the 13th of March 2018 and we're going to reflect on a beautiful passage of scripture from John chapter 5 verses 1 to 16. Listen. After this there was a festival of the Jews and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now in Jerusalem by the sheep gate there is a pool called in Hebrews Bethsaida, which has 5 porticos. In these lay many invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man said to him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, and while I am making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me." Jesus said to him, "Stand up, take your mat and walk." At once the man was made well, and he took up his mat and began to walk. Now that day was a Sabbath, so the Jews said to the man who had been cured, "It is the Sabbath, it is not lawful for you to carry your mat." But he answered them, "The man who made me well said to me, 'Take up your mat and walk.'" They asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take it up and walk'?" Now the man who had been healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had disappeared in the crowd that was there. Later Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you have been made well. Do not sin any more, so that nothing worse happens to you." The man went away and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. Therefore, the Jews started persecuting Jesus because he was doing such things on the Sabbath, the gospel of the Lord. Do you want to be well? What kind of a question is that to ask a man who has been paralyzed for 38 years? Well, it's not as absurd as it might seem, because there was a good chance that the man had been so long on his mat it felt like home to him, and there is a good chance he might have actually preferred being on it. A few years ago I watched a movie called The Shawshank Redemption. Based on a Stephen King novella, it tells the story of a banker who has been sent to prison for the murder of his wife and a lover, despite his claims of innocence. Now, one of the subplots of the movie was about another prisoner named Brooks. After serving 40 long years in prison, he is released on parole. Brooks is not very happy with his freedom. 40 years of incarceration have institutionalized him, and he doesn't quite know how to live life on the outside. He simply cannot come to terms with it, and eventually he hangs himself. It was a very sad ending, but I could empathize. I have little doubt that he didn't like the prison that he was in, but it had become home, his place of comfort. So the question Jesus asks is a very pertinent question, because the answer is not as obvious as it might seem. Like Brooks, the man in this story has been on the mat for many, many years. He has been in a place where he has seen miracles taking place daily, but always with somebody else. Embittered and angry, he has reconciled himself to his situation. So he has to answer Jesus' question with a yes if he wants to be healed. Now, this question is one that Jesus asks of us too, because we all have our mats that we cling to, even if we hate them. Our addictions are one example. Our friendships, our bad friendships, are another. Do we really want to be rid of them? If we were to examine our lives honestly, we would see that there are often many mats that we lie on, and they have become very comfortable to lie in. So, brothers, sisters, do you want to be well? Think about it today. Have a good day.